This lesson is going to look at intercepts, or in other words, what happens when a line hits, or in other words, intercepts the x-axis and when it hits the y-axis. What's going on in those cases? So first let me ask you a couple quick questions. What's 428 times 2? Well, you're probably digging for your calculator or looking for pen and paper, because that's something you might not know off the top of your head. It takes a little bit of thought. But if I ask you what's 428 times 0, what's the answer? Easy, you know it right away, it's 0. If I ask you what's 15 plus 402, well, you know, not too bad, 417, but if I ask you what's 15 plus 0, you know that right away, it's 15. And so, multiplying and adding and then subtracting with 0 as well, we can't divide by 0, but with those other three operations is pretty easy. And it makes things a lot easier for us in many cases. So that's one thing we can use to our advantage when we're looking to graph lines. For instance, what are some solutions to x plus y equals 4? Well, this is still pretty easy. 2 and 2 work. 3 and 1 work. Okay, but so if we graph those points over 2 and up 2, over 3 and up 1, that's not too bad. But in a lot of cases, or in almost all cases, 0 is going to be the easiest thing to work with. So if x is 0, what is y? Well, 0 plus what equals 4? It's got to be 4. And if x is 4, what must y be? Y then must be 0. So let me plot 0 and 4. So start at 0, we're not going anywhere. Then we go up 4. And 4 zeros, we go over 4. And then we don't go up or down at all. So I put a point right there. And here is our line that represents all the solutions to x plus y equals 4. So notice the coordinates of the point when it hit the x-axis. So here is the x-axis, and this point here is 4, 0. Here's the y-axis. What's this point? 0, and then you go up 4. So what do you notice about the x value when the line hits the y-axis? What is that value right there? It's 0. And what do you notice about the y value when the graph hits the x-axis? The y value is 0. So it's kind of, in a sense, opposite. When it hits the x-axis, y is 0. And when it hits the y-axis, x is 0. Let's think about why that might be, because if you're on the x-axis, anywhere on the x-axis, that means you haven't gone up at all, and you haven't gone down at all, so you're right at 0 for the up-down portion of the graph. If you're here on the y-axis, that means you've gone, maybe in this case, up 4, but you haven't gone left and you haven't gone right at all, so the x is still 0. Okay, so let's look at some other examples here. Let me draw some other lines. So if I draw, let's just say this line right here, what is the x-intercept and what is the y-intercept? So see if you can find the coordinates for that point and the coordinates for that point. So I'll give you a second to do that. Okay. Well, this point right here is over 1, and then we're not going up or down at all, so it's 0. So it's 1 comma 0. This point right here, we didn't go left or right at all, so the x is 0, and then we went up 1 on the y, so the y is 1. So again, notice what happened. When it hits the x-axis, y is 0. When it hits the y-axis, x is 0. And that's going to be the case in all situations where the line intercepts either the x or the y-axis. Right? So, one more time. When it hits the y-axis, x is 0. And when it hits the x-axis, y is 0. Okay? So that concludes this video.